Life is full of moments that quietly decide whether you move closer to your dreams or drift further away, and most of the time, those moments don't look dramatic. They don't come with warning bells or grand announcements, they come disguised as small choices between focus and distraction, between discipline and comfort, between what you want most and what you want right now. And if you look honestly at your life, you will see that the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't caused by one giant failure. It's built from 1,000 tiny moments where distraction won, where discipline was ignored. And the truth is, most people live in that gap forever because they never learn to say no to the noise. They never learn to starve the temptations that steal their time, their energy, their potential. They think they'll get serious tomorrow. They think they can afford to keep giving away their focus like it costs nothing. But tomorrow never comes, and the world is relentless in throwing distractions your way. It will hand you endless reasons to procrastinate, endless excuses to wait until you feel ready. But that's a trap, because readiness is not a feeling. Readiness is a choice you make in the middle of imperfection, in the middle of discomfort, in the middle of uncertainty. And if you wait until you feel perfectly motivated, you'll waste your entire life waiting. So you must decide now to protect your focus like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. Your focus shapes your future. It decides what you will build, who you will become, and the life you will live. And you can't afford to keep feeding your distractions like they are harmless pets. Because they're not. They are predators, they are thieves, they eat your days one bite at a time. And before you know it, they have eaten years from your life. Years you will never get back. Years where you could have been building something that mattered, mastering something that elevated you, creating something that gave you pride and freedom. But instead you were endlessly scrolling, endlessly checking, endlessly numbing yourself with easy dopamine while the clock kept ticking. And here's the painful truth: discipline doesn't grow in a life full of distractions. Discipline grows in the quiet, in the uncomfortable space where you do what needs to be done even when you don't want to, even when no one is watching, even when you could take the easy path, but you choose the hard one. Because that's how greatness is built. One disciplined choice stacked on top of another until it becomes who you are. Until focus isn't something you fight for, it's something you live by. But you cannot get there if you keep letting your attention be stolen. You have to put your distractions on a starvation diet. You have to cut off their supply, remove the triggers, silence the noise. Make it harder for temptation to reach you, because your discipline will never thrive in a mind that's constantly being pulled in 100 directions. Your mind needs space. It needs stillness. It needs room to hold one thought and follow it through without being interrupted. And yes, in the beginning, it will feel unnatural. It will feel almost painful to remove the distractions because your brain is addicted to them. It's used to the instant reward, the instant escape. But like any addiction, the only way to break it is to go through the withdrawal, to sit in the discomfort and not run from it, to prove to yourself that you don't need the constant noise to feel alive. You don't need the constant stimulation to feel okay. You are strong enough to be bored, to be still, to be uncomfortable without numbing yourself. And when you starve your distractions, something incredible happens. You start to hear your own thoughts again. You start to see your own vision clearly. You start to remember what you were working for in the first place, and in that clarity, your discipline starts to grow stronger. It starts to feel like a shield against the chaos of the world. It starts to guide you instead of you constantly trying to force it. But this is not something that happens overnight. It's a war between the version of you that craves comfort and the version of you that craves greatness, and only one of them can win. And every single day you decide who that will be based on what you feed and what you starve. Because if you feed your distractions, your dreams will starve. But if you feed your discipline, your distractions will die. And you will finally have the freedom to live the life you were meant to live. The life where you look in the mirror and feel proud of the person staring back, because you know they fought for this, they earned this. They didn't just wish for it, they built it with their own hands, with their own relentless focus. And it all began the moment they decided to stop feeding what was killing them and start feeding what would save them. The hardest part about feeding your discipline is that it requires you to choose long-term gain. over short-term pleasure again and again until it becomes automatic. And at first your mind will fight you, your habits will fight you, your environment will fight you, because you've spent years training yourself to respond to every ping, every buzz, every impulse, and discipline demands that you break that cycle. It demands that you stop letting every distraction have access to you. It demands that you set boundaries so clear that even you can't cross them without noticing. And this is where most people give up. They want the rewards of discipline without the sacrifice. They want the benefits of focus without giving up. The comfort of distraction. They want to keep all their bad habits and somehow still win. But it doesn't work like that, because focus is not something you can fake. You either live in it or you don't. And if you keep feeding distractions, your life will be one long story of potential that never became reality. But when you start feeding your discipline, everything changes, not in a loud, explosive way at first, but in a quiet, powerful way. You begin to notice you're getting more done in one focused hour than you used to in an entire distracted day. You begin to notice you actually finish what you start. You begin to notice your confidence growing because you're keeping promises to yourself. And that confidence starts spilling into other areas of your life, because discipline in one area tends to breed discipline in others. The same way distraction in one area spreads everywhere. And before you know it, you've transformed, not because you suddenly got lucky, not because someone gave you a break, but because you took control of the one thing most people never master: your attention. And if you think about it, your attention is your life. Whatever you give your attention to grows, whatever you neglect dies. So if you give your attention to discipline, your future will grow. But if you give it to distractions, your regrets will grow. And the cruel part is that distractions don't feel dangerous in the moment, they feel harmless. They feel deserved, they feel like a tiny break you've earned, but every tiny break adds up. Every little indulgence chips away at your time, your energy, your momentum. And momentum is life's secret currency. Once you lose it, everything feels 10 times harder. Every step feels heavier. Every goal feels further away. And the only way to get it back is through consistent, disciplined action. Even when you feel like you're not moving fast enough, even when the results aren't obvious yet. Because discipline is not about immediate rewards, it's about building a foundation so solid that nothing can shake it. And in this world where distractions are everywhere, where your phone is always one swipe away from stealing an hour of your life, you have to be intentional about how you live. You have to treat your focus like oxygen, because without it, your dreams suffocate. And when you understand that, you stop playing games with your time. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop saying just 5 minutes, because you know those 5 minutes rarely end at 5. You start building habits that protect your focus the way a fortress protects a treasure. And the treasure you're guarding is your future self, the person you're becoming, the life you're creating. And every time you say no to a distraction, you're saying yes to that future. Every time you choose to work instead of scroll, to study instead of watch, to train instead of rest, you are feeding the discipline that will one day make you unstoppable. And yes, there will be days you stumble, days you give in, days you feel like you've ruined your progress. But discipline is not perfection. Discipline is persistence. It's the act of coming back every single time you slip. It's the ability to forgive yourself quickly and get back on track without losing sight of the bigger picture. Because the bigger picture is this: your life will be decided by what you feed and what you starve. So stop feeding what steals your time. Stop feeding what weakens your mind. Stop feeding the excuses that keep you small. Starve them until they die, and take that energy, that time, that focus, and feed the habits, the actions, the routines that bring you closer to your goals. Feed the self-control that makes you stronger than temptation. Feed the patience that allows you to play the long game. Feed the consistency that turns ordinary people into extraordinary forces. Because the truth is, distraction is easy. It's everywhere. It's cheap. But discipline, that's rare. It's expensive. It costs you comfort. It costs you ease. It costs you the illusion of free time. But it gives you something far more valuable in return. A life you can be proud of. A future you built with your own hands. a strength that can't be shaken by circumstance, and a quiet, unshakable knowledge that you didn't waste your chance, you didn't waste your days, you didn't waste your life, you used it, you lived it, you won it, because you chose every single day to starve your distractions and feed your discipline. And that choice, repeated over and over, is what will make you unstoppable.